This is your Prasanna ma'am from NEET World. In the previous class, we have discussed about photosynthesis, light and dark reactions. What is photosynthesis in detail? We have discussed in the previous session, right? So, in this session, we are going to discuss about different activities which have proved, or the early experiments which have proved that photosynthesis has the raw materials. Photosynthesis has the raw materials like carbon dioxide, water, sunlight, in the presence of sunlight, and chlorophyll. These are the raw materials of photosynthesis, and glucose is formed at the end of photosynthesis. This is what we have discussed in the previous class to prove that it is right. You know, carbon dioxide and water and minerals, sunlight in the presence of chlorophyll, photosynthesis is happening, and this is forming out complex carbohydrates, right? Complex carbohydrates, and oxygen is evolving as a byproduct. Proofs, experimental proofs for this raw materials and the products formed and in the presence of sunlight, all the experimental proofs we are going to discuss now, and we are also going to discuss few set of the questionnaire which are important for your exams from this topic of this chapter. Okay beta? Yeah. If you look into the synonyms of photosynthesis, we have discussed in the previous class also, photosynthesis is said to be a physico-chemical process. Photosynthesis is said to be what beta? Physico-chemical process, anabolic process, it is said to be physico-chemical process, anabolic process, and oxidoreductive process. Oxidoreductive process. It is said to be physico-chemical process because the physical energy, that is photons from sunlight, physical energy, that is photons from sunlight, are converted to chemical energy, that is ATP and NADPH. Physical energy is converted to what ma? Chemical energy. Okay, that is why this process is called as what ma? Physico-chemical process. Anabolic process, this is because all the inorganic molecules or inorganic constituents or simpler molecules are forming up a complex sugar molecule. Simpler molecules utilizing the energy, it is forming up a complex or building up a complex sugar molecule. That is why it is called as anabolic process. It is also said to be an oxidoreductive process because here if you see beta, carbon dioxide is getting reduced to sugar, water is being oxidized to oxygen molecule. Okay? Carbon dioxide is reduced to sugar, water is oxidized to oxygen. Clear ma? So, yes, this is the standard equation of photosynthesis, which is 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. It builds up to form glucose and oxygen molecule. If you look into the photosynthesis is important for two reasons. Why photosynthesis is very much important? It is for two reasons. One, it is the primary source of food on earth. Photosynthesis taking place from the primitive plants to advanced plants, be it primitive plants like algae, brio, pterido, and advanced plants like gymnosperms, angiosperms. Photosynthesis taking place in all these species of plant kingdom is the primary source of food on the earth, and this is responsible for release of oxygen into the atmosphere. This will maintain the equilibrium of oxygen in the atmosphere. And next, if you take experiments, first is variegated leaf experiment. Thus, starch is formed in the green leaves. We say that chlorophyll in the leaf at the end, or the product of photosynthesis, is glucose. Glucose or starch molecule. The complex form of glucose is what ma? Starch molecule. So, starch molecule is present in the leaf or not is verified by an experiment called as variegated leaf experiment. This variegated leaf experiment, wherein firstly you might get doubt what is a variegated leaf. We will see different types of leaves which are not fully or completely green in color. A leaf which is of different shades of green color, like few orange, few yellow green color. So, this type of leaf is called as variegated leaf, which is not totally green in color. Such type of leaf is taken and it is conducted for starch test. It is conducted for what ma? Starch test, wherein starch reacting with iodine will form a starch iodine complex. It will form a starch iodine complex giving out blue black color. It gives out blue black color. It gives out blue black color, wherein if you look into here, variegated leaf, when it is conducted with starch experiment, starch interacting with iodine, it will give blue black color. When variegated leaf is conducted with that experiment, only the green part of the leaf, has turned to blue black color. After the starch experiment, only the green part of the leaf has reflected blue black color, the rest part of the leaf remain colorless or pale. With this variegated leaf experiment, we can say that green parts of the leaf will have chlorophyll. So, in the presence of chlorophyll, photosynthesis is happening, and at the end what is formed beta? At the end glucose is formed. Fine. So, yes, this is variegated leaf experiment. And second, if you take Moll's half leaf experiment, this Moll's half leaf experiment is to prove that carbon dioxide is essential or necessary for the process of photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide is necessary for the process of photosynthesis is proved by Moll's half leaf experiment. Here we will take a potted plant and place it under sunlight. We will take a potted plant and place it under sunlight, and half of the leaf is immersed into KOH solution. Half of the leaf is immersed into KOH solution. So, in this half leaf, whichever is immersed in the KOH solution, that carbon dioxide is mixed with this KOH. Carbon dioxide which is present in this half leaf is interacted with KOH solution and it will form potassium carbonate. It forms potassium carbonate and it will take away the complete carbon dioxide present in this leaf, and the rest half leaf which is in the air, it will happily conduct the photosynthesis. Aram se it will conduct the process of photosynthesis because carbon dioxide is present in the cells of this half leaf. Fine. So, after some period of time, when this leaf is plugged and conducted with photosynthesis, and when this leaf is plugged and conducted with the activity of photosynthesis, the half leaf which is freely present in the air will show blue black color indicating the presence of starch. It will show blue black color indicating the presence of starch. Okay. The rest half leaf whichever is in the beaker will be pale or colorless after starch experiment. After starch experiment, the half leaf which is present inside the beaker, it will be colorless, and the half leaf which is exposed to the sunlight, it will happily conduct the photosynthesis and will form starch, will give out blue black color after starch experiment. So, with this it is proved that carbon dioxide is essential for the process of photosynthesis. Next, it is Joseph Priestley's experiment, where Joseph Priestley is the scientist who discovered oxygen. He discovered oxygen in the year 1774. What did he do? He has conducted a bell jar experiment. Where inside the bell jar he has placed a mice and a candle. After certain period of time, when he observed that this bell jar is airtight container, no air from outside will enter into the bell jar. Okay. After certain period of time, he has observed that the mice is dead and the candle has put off. Later he repeated the same experiment with a potted plant. A potted plant, mice and a candle, and he said that after some time when he observed all of them are fresh and alive. Mint plant is fresh, mice and candle, everything is alive, candle is burning still. With this observation, he has concluded that there is some gaseous exchange. The gas which is breathed out by a plant is consumed by the animal, and the gas which is exhaled by the animal is consumed by the plant. Such type of gaseous exchange has taken place is what said by Joseph Priestley. Later he named that gas as what ma? oxygen. Okay, oxygen which is exhaled by the rat is taken by plant, and oxygen which is exhaled by the plant is taken by the rat, and carbon dioxide which is exhaled by the rat is taken by the plant for the process of photosynthesis. This is what is explained by Joseph Priestley, and he is the scientist who discovered oxygen. Next, it is Jan Ingenhousz. He said that sunlight is essential for the process of photosynthesis and oxygen is evolving out during photosynthesis, is said by Jan Ingenhousz. Okay. Here he has taken a beaker containing water and a tistle funnel. He has kept hydrilla plant into that tistle funnel and inverted it inside the beaker. He has placed a test tube over the tistle funnel. Fine. So, yes, after certain period of time he has placed two such setups, one in light and one in dark. After certain period of time he has observed that the setup which has kept in the sunlight, bubbles are formed in the test tube, air bubbles are formed inside the test tube. Okay. So, this air bubbles are formed inside the test tube, showing that oxygen is evolved from the process of photosynthesis. How did they check that whether these bubbles are oxygen or not? If we keep a burning candle or a burning matchstick over this test tube, when we take out this, when we take the test tube out from this experiment and expose it to a burning candle or a burning matchstick, that it will burn more vigorously. The matchstick will burn more vigorously, consuming the oxygen. Okay, in the presence of oxygen, the matchstick will burn more vigorously. With that, we can say that oxygen is the gas which is evolved from photosynthesis, and this happens only in the sunlight. This does not happen to that setup which is kept in the dark. So, with this they say that, with this he said that green plants will conduct photosynthesis. It requires water, it requires sunlight, and oxygen is evolved during the process of photosynthesis. This is said by Jan Ingenhousz. The next, Julius von Sachs. He is the scientist who said that glucose is formed in the green plants. He is the scientist who said that glucose is formed during photosynthesis and glucose is stored in the form of starch. You have to remember this for sure. How is glucose stored? Glucose is stored in the form of starch and chlorophyll is located inside the chloroplast. This is what said by Julius von Sachs. He also has done the same experiment, but then not with a variegated leaf. He has taken a leaf and placed a black sheet over it, or a black paper, black sheet or black paper, exposed that plant to sunlight. Thereafter, he has conducted a starch experiment wherein the leaf which is not covered with black paper has shown blue black color, and the leaf which is covered with this black paper, this is pale. Okay, it remained pale without showing any color, it remained colorless. So, this is what said by Julius von Sachs. Carbon dioxide is essential for photosynthesis is said by Moll's half-leaf experiment, it is said by Moll. Water, sunlight is necessary for photosynthesis and oxygen is evolved from photosynthesis is said by Jan Ingenhousz. Bell jar experiment is conducted by Joseph Priestley. Joseph Priestley has discovered oxygen in the year 1774, and Julius von Sachs said that glucose is formed at the end of photosynthesis and it is stored in the form of starch. These are the important points that you have to remember. Now, let us exercise few questions. Let us exercise few questions. Where is chlorophyll mainly present in the plant? Where is chlorophyll mainly present? If you consider this as a cell, and a chloroplast we have learnt in the previous class, no, this is a double membrane bound organelle inside which you will have membranous sac like structures, thylakoids. Stalk of sac like structure is called as grana. Stalk of sac like structure is called as what, ma? Grana. So, inside this chloroplast you will have chlorophyll pigments. Chlorophyll pigments are present over this thylakoid membrane. This is the thylakoid membrane. So, chlorophyll pigments is present in the thylakoid membrane inside photosystems. Okay, you just remember chlorophyll pigments present inside thylakoid membrane. Clear? Chlorophyll pigments are present inside the thylakoid membrane or thylakoid lamellae. So, here the question is about where is chlorophyll mainly present in the plants. Chlorophyll is present, this you will get mostly for 2 marks question beta. So, yes, chlorophyll is present in green plastids. It is present in green plastids. Plastids are of 3 types. What are they, Nana? Chloroplast, chromoplast and leucoplast. Okay, of these 3, what are green plastids? Chloroplasts. Colored plastids? Chromoplasts. Food storing plastids are leucoplasts. So, yes, chloroplasts are green plastids. They are called, these green plastids are called as chloroplasts. The leaf contains cells which contain chloroplasts. Chloroplasts containing cells are present in more quantity in the upper side of the leaf. Upper side is called as adaxial side. Upper side of leaf is called as adaxial side of the leaf. So, most amount of chloroplasts are present on the upper side of the leaf, upper side or ventral side or adaxial surface of the leaf. Thus, they are able to get more sunlight. Okay. So, this is what the explanation that you have to give when this question is asked where chlorophyll is mainly present. Okay. And then when it comes to fill in the blanks, type of questions, here if you see ma, iodine turns blue black on reacting with what? On reacting with starch. Iodine turns blue black on reacting with starch. Starch is what? Glucose is stored inside the chloroplast in the form of starch. Glucose is stored inside the chloroplast in the form of starch. Clear? Second question if you see, carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and dash is required for the photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and chlorophyll is the pigment, right? Chlorophyll are required for the process of photosynthesis. Dash is known as photosynthetic organelle of the cell. What is the photosynthetic organelle of the cell? Photosynthetic organelle of the cell is chloroplast. Photosynthetic organelle of the cell is chloroplast, right? Next, site of photosynthesis in a plant. In a plant, the photosynthetic organ is leaf beta. In a plant, the photosynthetic organ is leaf. If they are asking you what is the site of photosynthesis in a leaf, then your answer should be chloroplast. Or if they are asking you exactly what is the site of photosynthesis inside the chloroplast or what is the site of light reaction inside the chloroplast, your answer should be the site of light reaction inside the chloroplast is thylakoid membrane. What is the site of light independent reactions inside the chloroplast? Your answer should be stroma. All the sites and locations of the reactions should be clear in your mind, ma. Okay? Then only you can answer such type of questions. The 2 main steps of photosynthesis are called as, what are the 2 main steps of photosynthesis? One is light reaction. And the other is dark reaction, or you can say light independent reaction. Light independent reactions. Fine. So, yes, light reactions, 3 subsequent reactions or 3 sequential steps that are taking place in the light reactions are, the very first is, we have discussed yesterday, Noma, the first step of light reaction is absorption of light in the form of photons. Absorption of light in the form of of light in the form of photons. This takes place in thylakoid membrane. Second step is photolysis of water. Photolysis of water. Okay, second step is what ma? Photolysis of water. This takes place in thylakoid lumen. Third step is formation of assimilatory power. Assimilatory power. What is that assimilatory power that is formed? ATP and NADPH. This assimilatory power is formed where ma? Inside the stroma of the chloroplast. So yes, absorption of light in the form of photons is done in the thylakoid membrane. Photolysis of water inside the lumen of the thylakoid. Formation of ATP and NADPH is in the stroma of the chloroplast, right? Next, light independent reactions. What happens in this light independent reactions, beta? Carbon dioxide is reduced or carbon dioxide is fixed to glucose. Carbon dioxide is fixed to glucose, which happens in different cycles like C3, C4, CAM cycles. Okay. So yes, this takes place in the stroma of the chloroplast. This takes place where ma? Inside the stroma of the chloroplast. These are the few objective questions which you have to remember. Okay. Any doubts anywhere you can drop in the comment section. Yeah, here comes the major problem when you are answering 4 marks question. Okay, where he is saying define photosynthesis, how is it significant to mankind? Such type of questions are asked for 4 marker ma. What you have to look into? Photosynthesis can be defined as synthesis of organic compound, that is carbohydrates, by green plants from carbon dioxide and water taken up from air, soil respectively, using radiant energy or solar energy by what pigment ma? Chlorophyll pigment, which is present in the chloroplast, and consequent release of oxygen as byproduct. Okay, as a byproduct. It is significant to human beings in the following ways. First is, it helps in maintaining the equilibrium of oxygen in the atmosphere, because oxygen is releasing out by photosynthesis. This is proved by bell jar experiment, right? Second, it provides us food directly or indirectly. Yes, directly to herbivores, indirectly to carnivores. Next, it provides a huge source of energy in the form of coal, wood, timber, petroleum, etc., or paper also. These are all the materials that we extract from the plants for the commercial use. Okay, this is all about the nutrition from plants. In the coming sessions, we will be discussing about nutrition in animals also. So stay tuned. Thank you.